Mario Party 9 is widely considered one of the most controversial Mario Parties of all time. It was a game where around to launch and the rest of the 2010s was bashed for the changes it brought to the series, but recently has grown a softer reception, and it's now a game where it's a case of you either like it or you hate it. But there's still a lot of people who seem to hate Mario Party 9, and it seems like the hate is stemmed from the overall change, people never playing the game, or not giving it a fair shot after 20 minutes of gameplay. But I grew up with Mario Party 9, and despite its flaws, I actually grew it up with the good Mario Parties. So in this video, I'm going to go over my personal opinion on why I like the game, and think the hate is way too much, and why people tuned out the game. Well, let's get into it. Before we get into the rather short dev history of Mario Party 9, I'll go over one of the big reasons Mario Party 9 is overhated. When it released. Mario Party 9 came out in March of 2012. This is important. When the Wii came out in 2006, it was one of the most hyped game consoles for a few years, but by 2010-2011, the hype pretty much died down, and by E3 2011, Nintendo announced the Wii U, and after the release of Skyward Sword in November of 2011, many Nintendo fans were pretty much done with the Wii and ready to move on. And although 2012 was definitely the weakest year of the Wii when it was the main console, it still had some titles that Nintendo fans were more interested in. Rhythm Heaven came out in February, Pokepart 2 came out a couple weeks before 9, Xenoblade finally came to America in April, Pikmin 2 on Wii came to America in June, The Last Story came out in August for the West, and Kirby's Dream Collection came out in September. So for many Nintendo fans, when Mario Party changed up the formula for the first time, many just brushed it off and chose to save their money for the games that came out later, or saved it to buy the Wii U later that November. The good news is, despite all that, Mario Party 9 sold 3 million copies, making it the 6th best-selling Mario Party game. But despite all that, Nintendo fans made up their mind, and most Nintendo fans pretty much lumped it in with the bad Mario Parties. Mario Party doesn't have the usual crazy development history, but this one's worth talking about, as the release between Mario Party 8 and 9 is the most baffling. When the Wii came out, it was a party machine, and Nintendo made Mario Party a yearly series on the GameCube, so everyone thought we'd be at like Mario Party 12 by 2012. In 2007, Mario Party 8 came out and sold 8 million copies, one of the best-selling Mario Party games ever. Then, nothing. We wouldn't get another Mario Party game until March of 2012. What happened? In terms of mainline release, from 1 up until Jamboree, this is the longest release gap of a Mario Party game. And Mario Party 8 did so well, so what happened? After researching, I think I found the answer. At this time, Hudson Soft, the developers of Mario Party, was slowly but surely getting bought out more and more by Konami, and Nintendo and many of the Mario Party developers saw the writing on the wall and just moved on from Hudson Soft. They would join Nintendo's subsidiary company, ND Cube, renamed Nintendo Cube in 2024. ND Cube was a company formed in 2000 between Nintendo and Dentsu, but by 2010, Nintendo bought out the company's shares from Dentsu and other shareholders, and as of 2023, owned 99% of the company. ND Cube between 2000 and 2003 made F-Zero Maximum Velocity and a bunch of games nobody cares about, and remained dormant for the next few years. Then after Mario Party DS, Nintendo brought in a bunch of the old Mario Party developers to ND Cube, where ND Cube would work on their first major game in ages, Wii Party. Wii Party released in October of 2010 in the West, and is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, Mario Party clone. Meanwhile, for Hudson Soft, they developed their own party game, Oops Prank Party, in 2010. It's only legacy, it's a professor video. So for ND Cube, Nintendo let them work on the Mario Party series, but for Hudson Soft, in January 2011, Konami bought the remaining stocks to fully 100% own Hudson Soft, and on March 1st, 2012, the day before Mario Party 9's first release date, Hudson Soft was merged with Konami, effectively dissolving the company. And I'm telling you this because many people treat ND Cube as a completely different company and say something like, oh, Mario Party was ruined because they gave it ND Cube. Man, I wish Hudson Soft still worked on the series. Well, like I just explained, ND Cube is actually Hudson Soft. ND Cube has a bunch of old Mario Party developers, including the director of Mario Party since 6, Shichiro Nishiya, who would be the game director up until OG Super. And the only reason he stopped game directing is because he became the president of the company. So really, think about it. If Hudson Soft was still around, they wouldn't make traditional Mario Parties in that time. They still would have done the card mechanic. But with that all out of the way, let's actually dive into Mario Party 9. Mario Party 9 actually has a story mode. The story is that the Mario crew are all looking up at the night sky, seeing the stars, when suddenly Bowser and Bowser Jr. decided to steal them, and it's up to the Mario crew to stop them. Meanwhile, Shy Guy and Kamek are there as spies to help stop you from winning. In the story mode, you play through all 6 boards, each with flexible players to progress on to beat Bowser. An interesting note is that this is the first Mario Party story mode where the player actually does not have to outright win the board to progress. All you need is anyone except Shy Guy and or Kamek to win to advance. So you can get 4th place, but as long as Peach is in 1st place, you can move on to the next round. The story is fine, it's nothing too notable. Mario Party is never known for its story mode, so this pretty much fits right in. There's really nothing else to really note about the story mode, so let's go on into the characters. Mario Party 9's character selection is pretty okay. Dragon Bones and Hammer Bro unfortunately do not make a comeback in this game, but instead have Shy Guy and Kamek as characters. They're the only unlockable characters you unlock them after completing the story mode. Another character added is Koopa, who actually makes his first playable appearance in Mario Party 9, which is crazy because you think someone as iconic as Koopa would have been added earlier, but I guess not. Also, this is Shy Guy and Kamek's first playable appearance in Mario Party as well. Overall, the character selection is decent. The inclusion of Koopa, Shy Guy, and Kamek are nice, but other than that, it's the usual inclusion of characters. At least it's better than Superstars in Top 100. Okay, let's finally talk about the elephant in the room. The car mechanic. The car mechanic in Mario Party is single-handedly the most controversial addition in Mario Party history. As the previous 8 games were all 4 players doing their own thing in a circle, Mario Party 9 completely changed it up by having all 4 players tied to a single car and having a linear race to the finish line type gameplay. Mario Party would use the car for 2 games, 9 and 10, while having the linear style map in both 9, 10, and Island Tour on the 3DS. This change has been met with universal backlash ranging from diehard Mario Party fans to just casual Nintendo fans. My opinion? I think Mario Party 9 did a good job at implementing this move. I look at Mario Party 9's usual game, why I think it was a decent change, and why fans hate it. So here's an average Mario Party 9 game. You and your squad start off trying to get to the end of the board. Every player's turn becomes the captain of the car, where the captain is in control, and along the way is a possible victim to whatever it is on the map, good and bad. Halfway through the board, everyone has to play a midpoint boss. Every board has 2 bosses, one in the midpoint and one at the end. After that, you go through whatever shenanigan is in half 2. For the most boards, by the second half, you go through a captain event. Captain Event is a small minigame where players can have the chance to get a good chunk for mini-stars, and it's called a Captain Event because usually the captain gets a huge advantage to help them get way more mini-stars. After that, finish up the board and you go face the end board boss. Do bonus stars after that, which has 3 chances to win and gives you 5 mini-stars if you win 1 for each. Then, it finally decides the winner. For when you play the minigame, it's also different. Instead of it being at the end of every turn, it's when the captain lands on a minigame space. If you haven't played the minigame for a good minute and land on a dice block space, it just straight up gives it to you. This sounds bad in theory, as it sounds like you wouldn't get minigames really, but in actuality it works in practice because trust me, you're going to land on a minigame space, and especially a dice block place, a lot more than you think. For this game, mini stars replace coins as new currency, and there's mini stars. Seriously, why couldn't they just name it minus stars? Which makes you lose mini stars. The best way to describe the new Mario Party format is, imagine a Mario Party game, but stars don't count. That's essentially what Mario Party 9 is. There's a huge overall on how spaces work. The blue space is the first mainline Mario Party where it actually doesn't give you coins or any economics, it just gives you a random dice block. Red spaces are just completely gone. Then there's the lucky and unlucky spaces, which very surprisingly, the unlucky space makes its very first appearance, which is kind of baffling to think about. And the lucky space's first appearance was in the previous Mario Party, which, like I said, it's kind of baffling that spaces like that just seem like a no-brainer for Mario Party until the 9th entry for them to add. But anyways, the lucky space makes them go down a pipe and roll a dice to make you receive between 1 to 5 mini-stars. Or maybe you go to a Toad House to play a card game to receive a couple mini-stars, a dice block, or just straight up nothing. Unlucky space is the opposite, makes you go down a pipe and make you roll to lose between 1 to 5 mini-stars. Some other notable spaces include the spin space, which shuffles the turn order, and the usual Bowser space. For minigame spaces, there's the free-for-all space, 1v3 space, and a battle space where you play a battle minigame for each other star, so it's by Hammer Bro. Once in a blue moon, Fire Bro will come in instead, where the last place loses 10 mini-stars. Also, one more battle space is the Bowser Jr. space. The Junior space is where the captain and the person they're choosing has to face Junior in a battle minigame. If Junior wins, he takes 5 mini-stars from both players, but if you win, the 2 players get 5 mini-stars. This space is fine, and mainly works when you have real players playing with you, so you can choose who to personally screw over or to help out. But it's annoying when you're playing with CPUs since they choose the user player every single time without fail. I actually really appreciate how ND Cube did these changes. It gives off plenty to strategize based on all the spaces, maps, gimmicks, minigames, and captain events. And one of the things they implemented with that was dice blocks. Obviously, dice blocks was always in Mario Party, but in 9 they really push it, with the dice block spaces being everywhere. You have multiple dice blocks, from 1, 2, 3 dice block, 0, 1 dice block, 4, 5, 6 dice block, a slow dice block, and 1, 10 dice block. The normal dice block is 1 through 6 instead of 1 through 10 because, well, the game would be way faster if the default was 1 to 10. You can use this to strategize. For example, if you're right in front of a bunch of minus stars, just use the 0 to 1 dice block so the next one up has to lose many stars. Or if you're in a bunch of unlucky spaces, just use a 4 to 5, 6 dice block to guarantee get away safely. Or if you want to land on a lucky space, just wait till the slow dice block lands on the number you want to make that happen. It gives off plenty to strategize and screw over your friends. For how you can strategize in general, here's another example. During my run of Boo's Haunted Castle, it was at the very end almost to the boss base. Shy Guy was in first place, up by at least 20 mini-stars, and we reached the end to where we needed to hit more than a 4 to get to the boss. Mario got a 2, so we looped the area. When it was my turn, I rolled a 4. Instead of taking the route where I landed on a battle minigame, I decided to risk it all by landing on a Bowser space. I collected 10 mini-stars and landed on the Bowser space, and believe it or not, I got 10 mini-stars out of it. Now I went from 30 mini-stars behind to now 10. Then Shy Guy's turn happened and he landed on the back space, which he then landed on a Bowser space, and then lost half his mini-stars. Shy Guy never recovered as I won the game. Another new feature Mario Party 9 has added that it kinda pushes is having flexible party members. What I mean is you can play with either 3 people, a 1v1v1, or even a 1v1 if you want. I don't understand why NDQ pushed this so much. It's incorporated in the story mode, and one minigame mode incorporates it also. I mean, it's a nothing feature really. I don't know why NDQ pushed this really when most players are just only going to play the 4-player battles anyway, but hey, it's there. I personally enjoyed the changes to Mario Party 9 as a whole. I think they hit the mark with the overall concept, but why do fans hate it? Well, it's just because they mainly just changed up the formula in general. I'll give Mario Party 9 haters a bone here. While I do think Mario Party 9 is a good overall change, at the same time, it just wasn't necessary. Mario Party from the past 8 games have already perfected the formula that was beloved by many, so there was no need to change it, so why change it? One of the main reasons were critics in general were just getting tired of the same old format. Many people seem to forget at some point Mario Party was a yearly franchise, so by the 8th entry, critics and some people were burnt out by Mario Party, so a switch up was needed from the point of view of ND Cube. The director also said the main reason was because for people that wasn't their turn, weren't paying attention to the game, so they put everyone on the cart because of that, which I say they didn't succeed. I mean, having people pay attention to the game 24/7 is kind of an impossible problem to fix. There's always going to be someone out there on their phone who's just not paying attention when it's not their turn. And also, just because someone isn't paying attention to the game doesn't mean they don't care. This really wasn't a problem that needed to be fixed. And like I said, I like the new change, but one of the main reasons Mario Party fans despise this change is the fact they changed it. Sounds stupid, but let me explain. The main idea of the gimmick is in Wii Party and Wii Party U. Nobody hates that because it's a different take on the board game mechanic. And it's a brand new game, so there's no pressure, and it's overall a good take that's implemented well, as Wii Party is widely considered one of the best Mario Party clones. But for Mario Party, it pioneered the mascot board game genre, so any new big changes is an immediate uphill battle, where people aren't going to accept it no matter how perfect it is, and constantly ask for it to be changed back. That's Mario Party 9. It's a good, I would even say a great attempt. But this is only something that would work in a spin-off or a one-off mainline game. But NDQ was trying to see if it worked long-term, which made the reception worse. So that's why fans were upset that they changed it, and why, despite liking it, wasn't going to work in the long term. But like I said earlier, one of the things that helped the Mario Party 9's new gimmick is the board, so let's talk about them. Mario Party 9 stages for the most part are pretty fun to play. In terms of the race to the finish boards, I say Mario Party 9 does it the best. To further talk about the linearity inside of the board, let's talk about the stages I think do them the best. Magma Mine and Bomb Factory. Magma Mine is a race to the top board where the first half is trying to make your way through the mountain. Along the way, you also go through the only captain event in this board. In this one, everyone rolls the dice to go through the mine and collect the mini-stars. However, there's a cliff at the end where if you fall, you lose all your mini-stars. This is a very fun captain event, as it's a very stress-inducing thing on how the RNG plays out for you. And what makes the event truly special is the fact that the captain chooses when to end the event. So if someone or everyone are on the edge while the captain is far back, the captain can just choose to keep going, forcing everyone to fall off and lose mini-stars they collected, while they can continue to collect them. It's a very fun mini-game, and I believe one of the best captain events in the game. After you get done with the midway boss, the real fun of the board starts. The twist is that the lava is now rising, and you essentially have to bolt to the top of the board to get away from the lava. And if you get caught up in the lava, you lose half your mini-stars. And the fun part is that the spaces where it can increase the lava more than intended, and routes where it's full of those spaces. This is great in case you're trying to strategize on screwing over your friends or the CPU. Example, the lava is further away than normal, and your friend has a bunch of mini-stars in his next turn, you can try to go on a different route with a lot of the lava spaces, so your friend has a higher chance of going in the lava. It's an overall fun board that perfectly shows off the new Mario Party formula. The other one I mentioned is Bomb Factory. The first half of the factory is a conveyor belt layout, where if you land on an event space, it can either take you more forward in this section, or more backwards in this section of the map. After the mid-boss, the real fun of the map begins, as a bomb is placed in your vehicle and if it counts down as the number the captain rolls. This is very fun as you can either conserve your rolls by getting a 0-1 or 1-2-3 dice block and using them, or have the RNG decide in your favor. Or if you want to screw over your friends and the bomb has 7 or above rolls left, you can use a 4-5-6 dice block to make them blow up to the bomb. The second half also has a captain event where the captain picks who goes where as everyone moves at the same time, all while the conveyor belt has mini stars depending on where you go. This is an interesting captain event, as for the captain it's always best to pick yourself first, as the mini stars are mostly placed by you, and if someone lands on the event space the mini stars go further down the conveyor belt, favoring the captain. It's one of those events where before getting there you want to try to get what you can get to make sure you're the captain. The board overall is a fun board and also perfectly showcases the new formula for Mario Party 9. The overall boards in the game range from pretty fun to pretty okay. Toad's Road is the usual beginner board of a Mario Party game. Boo's Haunted Castle has an interesting gimmick where Boo comes out the painting so it tries to catch up to you, and if it does you lose half your mini stars. Blooper Beach's gimmick in half one, there's a dolphin you trying to catch up to get a bunch of mini stars, but after that a shark is now trying to catch up to you, and if it does you lose half your mini stars. Second half of the stage is also where if you land on an event space all the mini stars to minus stars and vice versa. And Bowser's stage has a jackpot where you can collect mini stars when you land on the space for it. All these stages are pretty fun, but has their cons from turning it into a great stage. For example, Bowser's stage has 3 captain events, which sounds great, and the events are great too, but if you actually look at the board and play the board, you can tell it's just used to pad out time. And for Boo's Haunted Castle, that is the weakest captain event, and the bosses are just okay, and the same goes for Toad Road. But overall, these boards are really solid to play, and in terms of linear Mario Party, the boards in the game are the best of the bunch. Now, I said almost every board, and that's because in every Mario Party, there's unfortunately that one board that's the weakest link, and in this game, it's DK Jungle Ruins. The map is so short, you actually have to loop it in order to beat it. The captain events are easily the weakest in the game, and the boss minigames are also some of the weakest in the game. But other than that, most of the boards are actually pretty solid, and like I said, they're some of the best in the linear Mario Party games. Next up, the minigames. While a good Mario Party requires good boards, it also, at the same time, has to require good minigames. It has to be both, it can't be one or the other. Looking at you, top 100. Mario Party 9 has some of the best set of minigames, and some of the most underrated. If you've never played Mario Party 9, you wouldn't really know, because it seems like whenever NDQ brings back some Mario Party 9 minigames, it seems like they decide on the least best ones. Top 100 at least did Mario Party 9 justice, having them include 10, and the worst being like, what, Jigsaw Jumble? Superstars though, they completely screwed over. They only included 3, Tackle Takedown's a really fun one, Mayor Escape isn't the best, but it's still a minigame you're pretty happy to play. Then the last one's Goomba Spotting. Nobody's favorite Mario Party 9 minigame is Goomba Spotting. Why'd they add that instead of, you know, the handful of amazing minigames from Mario Party 9? But back to the topic at hand. Mario Party 9 has 81 minigames, and a good 80% of them are great to play. Back to the release, the one good thing about it being released this late is that it's not the early Wii era where every game had to be a waggle fest. Instead of mainly utilizing the motion controls, it actually utilizes, well, the buttons on the Wii remote. And because of this, it feels like it makes the minigames more unique and fun, and in my honest opinion, makes Mario Party 9's minigames better than Mario Party 8's. I think ND Cube agrees too, because in Mario Party Top 100, they brought in 10 Mario Party 9 minigames while 8 is reduced to 4. And even for Superstars, Mario Party 9 has more minigames included by 1. Dang, I feel bad for you Mario Party 8 fans. But Mario Party 9, like I said, offers a great selection of minigames, and I'm going to highlight some of my personal favorites. A few examples would be Magma Mayhem, a minigame where you're on a tipsy circle as you're literally fighting to the death to come out on top. Mecha Choice, an RNG game where you have to pick 3 doors in under 3 seconds, essentially relying on gut instinct to try and come out on top. Polar Extreme, a race to the finish minigame where you're racing on literal breaking ice, and if you fall in the water and stay for too long, you freeze, making you eliminated. Pinball Fall, a pachinko type minigame where you choose a ball and it drops somewhere and hopes yours gets to the finish line the fastest. 10 to win, a choice minigame where you have to pick a card and it gives you or your opponent a specific space to go up or down as well. Just like the title, the first to 10 points win. Peer Pressure, a minigame where you have to pick a fishing rod. If one's a cheap, you're safe, and if one's an urchin, you're out. Bomb Barge, a literal fight to the death minigame where you have to survive on a wooden plank going down a poison river, all while bombs constantly fall on you. Smash Compactor, a minigame where you're literally fighting over an open spot to avoid getting crushed. Ballistics, a top-down minigame where you have to avoid the oncoming bullet bills. Hazard Hold, a 1v3 minigame where the one player shoots fire, wind, and electricity to eliminate the other 3 players. And finally, Tackle Takedown, a 1v3 minigame where the one player has the football and you have to avoid the 3 players to get to the end zone for a touchdown. These are my personal favorites for me. If you have some personal favorites that didn't make it, leave it in the comments below. And if you love 2v2 minigames, well, you're about to be disappointed. Mario Party 9 doesn't have any. I don't mind really, I'm more of a free-for-all type guy, but I know for some people it does disappoint. But like I said, it's more like a case of it is what it is. Next up, the boss minigames. The boss minigames are the minigames you play during the midpoint and the end point of the stage. I'm gonna be completely unironic when I say this. Mario Party peaks with the bosses at 9. Yes, You heard that right. I think Mario Party 9 is the best Mario Party game with bosses. That's because I think there's some great boss minigames and there's some variety with what boss minigames you play. And 10, well, there is some variety, but it's just most of the bosses just felt soulless. Jamboree, on the other hand, except for one boss, is just shoot the boss or jump on the boss. Like, it's not fun. Mario Party 9, on the other hand, while not all the bosses are really good, a good chunk of them are really fun to play though. Some standouts include Game Bomb, a guessing game where you have to pick a bomb, but you can't pick the same bomb as another player. And in half 2, if you make a mistake, you lose points. Womp, a minigame where you and everyone else has to pick to rotate Womp or not. And however many times people rotate Womp, falls on a player and you have to ground pound Womp to give him damage. Chain Jump, a minigame where you have to memorize railways that leads to cannons. This gets really intense when everyone is scrambling to pick the best option possible. King Boo, a Candy Crush game where you connect 3 items to connect Boo, and if you connect more than 3, it deals more damage. This is very unique as not other Mario Party game has done something like this, nor since. Bowser Jr., a dice minigame where you have to hit a combined 3, 6, 9, 12, or 15 to deal damage to Bowser Jr. And Bowser, another dice minigame where all the dice have the characters on them and the amount of dice with characters on them give damage to Bowser. Example, if there's 5 dice blocks with Luigi, it gives 5 points for Luigi, and if there's 2 dice blocks with Shy Guy on it, it gives Shy Guy 2 points. These boss fights are the personal highlight for me in this game that definitely shine how good the new formula was, and why Mario Party 9 peaked with the bosses. Yes, even better than the DS boss fights, where the DS boss fights were good, but like, not too memorable or too cool enough to be great. But for Mario Party 9, the bosses I listed out reached the great territory that 10 and Jamboree heavily struggled with most, if not all their bosses not even reaching good territory. Next up is the minigame modes. The minigame modes are some of the most underrated parts of Mario Party, as while the board game part is the main focus, sometimes the side minigames are just as good. The side minigames included are Step It Up, Garden Battle, Choice Challenge, High Rollers, Time Attack, and Boss Rush. I'm gonna highlight the first four just because Boss Rush is, well, Boss Rush, and Time Attack is the speedrun mode, which personally isn't for me. Step It Up into the Hill mode, where every minigame a player wins goes up a step, and the player with the most amount of steps gained wins. There's nothing really interesting to say about this minigame, as most like these are like the team deathmatch and shooting games where it's an easy pick up and play mode and great for casuals, but it's a damn good one. That's Step It Up. It's your usual King of the Hill mode, but man is it a fun one. Next up is Choice Challenge. Choice Challenge is also one of the few times the game tries to push the expendable players idea, and I say they actually hit the mark on it. The idea of the game is that you can pick 3 out of 5 minigames to play, and whoever else picked the minigame has to play with you. Like, let's say you picked Plunder Ground. If only one other player picks it, then it's a 1v1. But if it's Goomba spawning and everyone picks it, it's usually a free-for-all. This can get very interesting, as if it's a 1v1, it gives out the usual first and second place points. So even if it's a 1v1, you still get a good chunk of points since it counts as second. If you're behind, then you kind of want to have a 1v1. The game also gives off Chance minigame at complete random, which earns you 150 points if you win, drastically altering the game. And if nobody picks the game, then you automatically get first place points. And this could also happen for Chance minigame, which lands you a free 150 points, which is what happened in one of my sessions. This is legitimately fun, as not only is you're picking your favorite, but if you're playing with real people, having to strategize what minigames they like or don't like to likely get a chance of a 1v1, or just yourself to maximize points. This is honestly one of the best pick up and play side modes, as it only takes around 5 to 10 minutes to do, and it's fun and intense in all of those minutes. Next up is Garden Battle. In Garden Battle, everyone has an empty 5x5 plot of land that you have to fill up with dirt by winning minigames. The higher you place, the more you have a chance of getting the grass you want, and the person to completely fill up their plot wins. This side mode is pretty fun to play, as battling it out trying to get first or an overall high position is, well, tense and fun, and you have to do good right off the bat, as new sections get smaller and smaller over time. Meaning if you did trash right out the gate, it's gonna be rough trying to come back. And this could get crazy if you're playing with friends, trying to fight over that one specific piece you both need. And filling in the pieces is pretty satisfying, especially if it's a big piece you're trying to insert. The last one I want to talk about is High Rollers. High Rollers is probably the most unique side mode in this game. In this one, everyone is on a queue trying to roll over spaces that start at 30 points, that counts down by 10. When you roll over it, and eventually hit 0 before it resets, and the first to 500 points wins. And you move a limited amount of spaces depending on how you place in the minigame. First place gets 4 spaces, and last place gets 1 spaces. This mode honestly is probably the best in the game, as not only trying to fight for first to get the most points as possible, but there are other stuff they added to make it chaotic. One thing you get where if you're in the same line of blocks as another player, you can use this item to push them off the stage, making them lose their turn. And the crazy part is, you don't lose your roll, you can still continue on like nothing happened. I feel like this addition alone solidifies it as one of the best side modes, as this mode was already good enough, but the move item to push players off, losing their turn, definitely showcases the chaos that makes Mario Party. It's honestly the side mode I end up returning to the most over the years. And now, not gonna lie, I don't know what else to say about these modes. Goomba Bowling and Shell Soccer are definitely the best out of them all, as Goomba Bowling is just a regular minigame, but you put it into 5 frames instead of 1, and Shell Soccer is a 2v2 soccer game where the first to 7 wins. The game was even included in Mario Party Superstars. These are both great modes, but I don't know what else to say about them that really makes them great. Castle Clear Out personally isn't for me, as I played for 10 minutes and it barely got any harder, but I know some people that generally love this mode. And Perspective Challenge puts the minigames in a different point of view, which is unique for Mario Party, but other than that, you're just playing the minigames again with a different camera angle. Next up, the graphics and music. The graphics on Mario Party 9 are great, like surprisingly great. This game came out in the transition period between the old Wii graphics and the new high definition graphics, so you get this look where it's like the HD models and textures, but it's still on the Wii. This makes the game look fantastic. Honestly, probably one of the best looking Mario games on the console alongside the Galaxy games. And when you play the game on Dolphin and boost up the graphics, you would legitimately think it's a Wii U game. It's honestly insane how hard they went on the graphics for Mario Party 9. Now the music. Music is one of the more overlooked features in a game like Mario Party, but it's really important to have some bangers to help make the vibes more intensify and have it be an overall memorable game. For the bosses, the mid-bosses have all the same theme except juniors, and all the end bosses have different themes. At worst, they're just okay, but at best, they completely elevate the boss fights. An example being the blooper boss. It's just an average boss fight, you shoot at blooper, nothing special. But the music that plays is so incredible, it single-handedly makes it a memorable boss fight despite being okay. Junior's boss music is incredible. The first half is this jazz music that feels like it fits in the gambling room. And the second one is a tone shift where it's completely hype, and I'm not even joking, it may be a top 10 boss theme for Mario, period. The mid-boss theme is also great, as it's intense and broad enough to fit every mid-boss fight perfectly. And King Bob-omb's music is amazing. It gives the intimidating grand theme that kind of gives off final boss vibes. Some of the stage music is also great. Bomb Factory perfectly gives off the gritty factory feel. And Boo's Haunted Castle music gives off the haunted place that you're not supposed to be in perfectly, while also having a vibrant feel. Some of the minigame music is honestly some of the best the franchise has to offer. Here's a few examples. But how can we forget about some of the best music in the game? Junior's boss music. Junior's boss music is incredible. The first half is this jazz music that feels like it fits a gambling room. The second one is a tone shift where it's completely hype, and I'm not even joking, it may be a top 10 boss theme for Mario, period. And the last thing we'll talk about is the museum. The museum is where you go to unlock stuff. You get party points every time you complete a board game or a minigame mode, and this is where you go to spend it. You can unlock stuff from new vehicles, unlock stages, and even stars. Yeah, one of the things you can unlock in this game is constellations of different Mario stuff, and honestly, they're fine. It's a neat little addition to the game. The game gives off a good amount of stuff to unlock, and if I had to estimate, completing the story mode already gives off 500 points, so to unlock everything would take about, completing the story mode with every character, that's what I'm predicting, but this game has a good chunk of unlockables to try and get. So that's Mario Party 9. It definitely doesn't deserve the hate it gets. While yes, it should not have changed up the formula that it mastered over the years, the new formula has some good things going for it that doesn't deserve to be mindlessly bashed. Although the next game would mess up that formula, but like I said, Mario Party 9 did a good job trying to create a new formula for Mario Party. I recommend y'all give Mario Party 9 a proper shot. There's something in there to like, whether it be the boards, the minigames, or even the music. It's worth checking out. But that's going to be all for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.